Yeah, in today's presentation, we will cover um, the executive summary of our company, our analysis of the issues, the alternatives that we explored, and finally the recommendations. And to start off, um, to start off, our company was founded during COVID, and our mission is. Oh my god, this is just blank out. I wonder what she got on that presentation. Yep, this was exactly my biggest fear when I began this course. I was scared of saying too many ums, which could be distracting to the audience. I was scared of freezing on the spot. I was scared of being judged by the audience. But everyone has their own hurdles to leap, and I guess this class is just one of those hurdles. Well, now, why don't we look back at the first presentation to see how I did?
Oh my god, bro.
Well, as expected, the first presentation wasn't the best. There were a lot of awkward pauses, filler words, and weird hand gestures. But I guess that didn't come as too much of a surprise. DJ did warn us not to start the presentation the night before, but guess who did? Well, too late. I learned things the hard way. But now you might be wondering, what are some things I did after that to improve my public speaking skills throughout this course? Number one, I did start doing research on my presentation topic days in advance to make sure that I know the in and out of my topic so that at least I know I'm confident about it. Number two, I started incorporating elements from the toolbox. For example, to prevent swaying around too much, I would put my feet apart in order to maintain a steady stance. And I would practice in front of a mirror to see my own hand gesture to avoid drastic movements. 3. After my first presentation, I really started to incorporate the Carnegie method in order to structure my presentation better. With a proper introduction and ending that summarizes the points, I found that it does have a longer lasting impact on the minds of the audience. 4. I started to incorporate the stylistic devices such as repetition, asking questions during the intro in order to make it more relevant for the audience, or even using humor to make the topic more engaging. And last but not least, this is probably the most important point. And I'll be honest about this one. Before taking this course, I would always write scripts days in advance and memorize them because I felt like speaking alone would give me so much anxieties that I wouldn't be able to think of what to say next during the presentation. And because DJ taught us not to, I really did follow his advice and make outlines where I would only remember the important points instead of memorizing it word for word. And this I found was very useful in helping me become a better speaker. One that does not need to necessarily regurgitate the script in order to sound confident, but instead the authenticity really makes me appear more confident from within. And another thing that I realized is that to become a good public speaker, you also need to have good active listening skills as well. Throughout the semester, we have many chances to listen to other people present. And guess what? One of the adjustments that I made in listening was to keep an open mind, not to judge other people and not jumping to conclusions. For example, one of the persuasive topics was on cold therapy and ice bath. Well, the old me would have erred on the side of caution because according to Chinese medicine and my mom, taking cold baths is one way to get sick. But by going into the presentation with an open mind without rose-colored lenses, I was able to recognize the true benefits of cold therapy and accept the presenter's perspective on it. And I've actually been fully convinced so much that I'm going to do the polar bear swim on the last day of class. And to really listen to other people present or just speak in general, I've also learned to ask follow-up questions in order to learn more about a topic and receive the full benefits from it. Throughout this process, this course of training both public speaking as well as participation and active listening, I've noticed that certain bad habits can be changed over time with enough determination and muscle memory. For example, by continuously practicing to stand still with my feet apart during speaking, I found that I don't sway as much as before. And with enough practices in speaking without relying on a script, over time I found that I really don't need a script anymore. I definitely did not foresee that one day I would be comfortable enough to present without memorizing a script. And to put it bluntly, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. And the number one way for me to get out of these situations when I panic is to being avoidant. For example, just like how I dropped this course the first time that I took it because I was too anxious to participate in these presentations. But by detaching myself from labeling myself as someone with anxiety disorder, I've learned to challenge myself and even slowly grow out of it over time, and also grow with other people in the course at the same time. I've also definitely grown a lot more confident over the semester. People always say, fake it till you make it, and this one hit home harder than ever. By allowing myself to be fully immersed and participating in this process, listening to DJ's advice and feedback, I have definitely grown into a more grounded and confident speaker. And before in presentations, I always had the feeling of being judged. But this feeling has changed and evolved over time. For example, in the last two presentations, it felt more like teaching my audience about something that they don't know about me, something that I am personally passionate about, or telling them a personal story so that they can get to know me better as a person. Moving forward, I definitely would want to explore more aspects of the toolbox, such as using more imagery or vivid elements to appeal to the audience further. And although I did improve in certain aspects, I feel like there are still certain things I could work on, such as practicing speaking a little more to reduce the amount of stuttering. And throughout the semester, I've also learned a great deal from other presenters. For example, in certain presentations, they would interact with the audience more closely by initiating a game session or doing a small activity with them. I found this very effective in audience engagement, so that's definitely something I want to try in the future. In the last few classes, we've also learned a lot about different communication profiles and how to deal with difficult communicators. This is my last semester and I will be starting full-time work in February, so I am looking forward to utilize some of those elements to deal with different people at the workplace. Lastly, I want to say a big thank you to the 395 teaching team, and I hope you guys all have a great holiday.